The late November sun casts long golden shadows across a frost-kissed lawn, and, well, inside the house hums a quiet energy, a symphony of familiar sounds. A knife rhythmically chops vegetables on a wooden board. The muffled sounds of a distant television broadcast a parade. Steam fogs the kitchen windows, the rich, savory scent of roasting turkey and warm spices, a fragrance that has come to define this specific Thursday. Children's laughter echoes from another room, a bright and fleeting melody. This scene, replicated in countless homes, is the modern embodiment of Thanksgiving. It is a day steeped in ritual, a pause button pressed on the relentless pace of life. Beneath the surface of this warmth, however, lies a story. Thanksgiving is more than a feast. It's a historical document, speaking of survival, desperation, and fleeting alliances. A narrative of gratitude, yes, but also of conflict and consequence. This annual pilgrimage to the dining table is a cultural touchstone where families gather to reconnect, participating in a tradition that is both deeply personal and uniquely American. For some, Thanksgiving is a symbol of homecoming and abundance. For others, a painful reminder of a history often ignored. As we gather, we participate in a story that began long before us, of people who crossed an ocean seeking a new life, and people who had lived on this land for millennia. The journey from that single harvest meal to a national holiday reflects America's own complex story, one that deserves to be understood. To find the seed of Thanksgiving, we travel to 1620. Aboard the Mayflower, English separatists, now called the Pilgrims, endured a perilous journey across the stormy Atlantic. Driven by a desire for religious freedom, they arrived in a new world utterly unprepared. Landing in what is now Plymouth, they faced a brutal winter where nearly half perished. Their survival was improbable. The Pilgrims encountered the Wampanoag people, who had lived in the region for more than 12,000 years. It was an individual named Tisquantum, also known as Squanto, who became a crucial bridge between these two disparate worlds. Squanto, a member of the Patuxet tribe, who had been kidnapped by an English sea captain, taken to Europe, and later returned, spoke English. He taught the struggling colonists how to cultivate corn, how to extract sap from maple trees, where to fish, and where to hunt, sharing knowledge essential for their survival. This pivotal assistance led to a bountiful harvest in the autumn of 1621. To celebrate their good fortune and survival, the Pilgrims' leader, Governor William Bradford, organized a celebratory feast. The Pilgrim leader invited Massasoit, the Wampanoag Sachem, who arrived with 90 men, suggesting a diplomatic event as much as a celebration. It was a 3-day festival of feasting and military displays from both sides, a brief intersection of two cultures. The meal itself bore little resemblance to our modern Thanksgiving dinner. The Wampanoag brought 5 deer, making venison the likely centerpiece. Colonists contributed wildfowl, corn, and local seafood. There was no pumpkin pie, as they lacked butter and wheat flour, and no cranberry sauce. This feast was a product of its time and place, a testament to the land's bounty and the Wampanoag's guidance. The 1621 harvest feast was not immediately repeated, nor was it considered the start of a national tradition. For nearly 2 centuries, days of Thanksgiving were proclaimed intermittently by individual colonies or states, usually to celebrate military victories or the end of a drought. They were solemn, religious observances rather than festive family gatherings. The story of the Pilgrims and the Wampanoag faded into relative obscurity, just one of many local histories. The idea of a single unified national Thanksgiving holiday had not yet taken root in the American consciousness. The advocate who transformed Thanksgiving was Sarah Josepha Hale, a popular magazine editor. For decades, she campaigned relentlessly to establish a national holiday, envisioning a day to bind a nation fractured by sectional tensions. Her persistence finally found a receptive audience in President Abraham Lincoln, who saw the value in a day of national gratitude during the Civil War. In the midst of the Civil War, Abraham Lincoln sought to foster national unity. On October 3, 1863, his proclamation declared the last Thursday in November a national day of Thanksgiving, calling on Americans to pray for the nation's healing. This officially cemented the annual holiday, and a sanitized version of the 1621 feast became its origin story, a comforting tale for a nation recovering from war, which omitted the subsequent centuries of conflict. The modern Thanksgiving menu evolved over hundreds of years, shaped by agriculture and influential publications. While the Pilgrims may have eaten wild turkey, it became the holiday centerpiece in the 19th century. A single bird was practical enough to feed a large family. Side dishes also have rich histories. Stuffing used stale bread, while cranberry sauce came from wild New England berries. And pumpkin pie, once a simple stewed pumpkin, became the quintessential dessert we know today. Hale and other writers popularized recipes that became standard fare. These foods are more than sustenance. They are edible symbols. Each carries a story of how our national palate was formed by history, geography, and a shared sense of occasion. The Thanksgiving table also serves as a canvas for America's growing diversity. Immigrant families have woven their heritages into American life, expanding the menu. Italian-American families might start with lasagna. Vietnamese-American families might serve spring rolls and fish sauce. Latino households might season turkey with adobo or serve tamales. This culinary blending represents the country's multicultural identity. Traditions are not static, they are dynamic, enriched by new voices, new flavors, and new stories of being American. Modern Thanksgiving has expanded beyond the dining table to include beloved rituals that mark the start of the holiday season. For millions, the day begins with the televised spectacle of the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, a tradition since 1924. Once the parade concludes, another powerful tradition takes center stage. Football, a link to the holiday that is over a century old. For many, the sounds of the game are as integral to the day as the meal itself, a backdrop for friendly rivalry. Beyond the home, traditions extend to community turkey trots and dedicating time to service. It's also one of the busiest travel times of the year, as millions journey home to reconnect. Following the feast, the focus swiftly shifts to another American tradition: holiday shopping. Black Friday, the day after Thanksgiving, marks the unofficial start of the Christmas shopping season, with retailers offering massive discounts that draw huge crowds. This commercial aspect, while criticized by some, has become an undeniable part of the modern Thanksgiving rhythm, bookending a day of gratitude with parades and purchases. For many Americans, Thanksgiving is a day of joy. But for most Native Americans, the holiday carries a painful meaning, erasing a darker history of colonization. Since 1970, many have gathered on Thanksgiving for the National Day of Mourning, a day to mourn, honor ancestors, and protest ongoing oppression. Acknowledging this view isn't about guilt or ruining a holiday. It's about embracing a fuller, honest understanding of our shared past. The Thanksgiving story is not one-sided. It includes the Pilgrims' struggle for survival and the Wampanoags' struggle for their own. To ignore Native experiences is to tell only half the story. National unity can't rest on historical erasure. It requires courage to confront uncomfortable history and listen to marginalized voices. This deeper understanding leads to a richer observance. It invites education, empathy, and learning about the land and its first inhabitants. By holding gratitude and grief together, we can transform Thanksgiving into genuine reflection, historical honesty, and a renewed commitment to justice and understanding for all people. In a world that often feels fractured and fast-paced, the simple act of pausing to give thanks holds a profound power. At its heart, beyond the complex history and the modern rituals, this is what Thanksgiving asks of us. It calls for a deliberate interruption of our daily routines, a moment to look around and within, and to acknowledge the good in our lives. This practice of gratitude is not about ignoring hardship or pretending that challenges do not exist. Rather, it is about cultivating a resilience of spirit, finding light even in difficult times, recognizing the web of connections that sustain us. It is a universal human impulse that transcends culture and creed. The holiday, in its ideal form, serves as a powerful catalyst for unity. It brings people together who may hold different beliefs or lead different lives, seating them at the same table to share a meal. In these moments of shared experience, there is an opportunity for dialogue and understanding. Passing a dish, listening to a story, sharing a laugh can help dissolve the barriers that so often divide us. Thanksgiving reminds us that our common humanity and our shared need for connection are more powerful than our differences. It is a day to practice the art of listening, to honor diverse perspectives, and to strengthen the bonds of family and community. As we move forward, we have the opportunity to continue shaping what Thanksgiving means. We can choose to embrace a more inclusive and truthful version of its history, one that honors all the voices in the story. We can create new traditions that reflect our own values, whether that means volunteering, sharing our table with a neighbor, taking a quiet moment for reflection. The future of Thanksgiving lies in holding both its beautiful ideals and painful truths. In this honest reflection, the holiday finds its deepest meaning. Ultimately, the story of Thanksgiving is a story about hope. Hope for peace between peoples, for a nation to heal, and the personal hope that comes from sharing our blessings with others. We are invited to participate in this enduring act of hope. We are invited to pause to connect and to give thanks, creating a moment of grace that can ripple outward into the world.